So, Charlie, can you tell us a little bit about how Safe to Land came to be? What were the problems we're trying to address, and why did CJP feel the need to re-examine our training, how we fly? I think David Miller said, once we've made the decision to go around or continue, that we have no playbook.
Right.
We're left on our own.
Right.
And clearly the data on runway excursions shows that we're not doing a great job of making it up on our own for that last stage.
Exactly. And, David's really good at simplifying a big problem down to one crystalline thought. So it's really good he said that. The origin of this is kind of with the origins of the safety committee. We had some accidents that caught everybody's attention. Not necessarily excursions. We had the loss of control in Cleveland that really was a trigger for the safety committee. But we thought the purpose of setting up the safety committee is to attack the high priority safety items that we ought to help our members with. And it became really obvious with the data that runway excursions was right at the top. And so we one of the first actions we took was to develop SOPs that we intentionally call them practices, not procedures, with the idea that our community are owner pilots. They have their own best practices, but we're going to provide what the community is determined are the best techniques to get something done. You're supposed to put the gear down before you land, but it never tells you where to put it down. So we're going to give you a practice instead of a procedure. Implies like a flight department, they have their SOPs and you will follow their SOPs. We're giving you things to think about when you fly your airplane that can be helpful. So one of the things that we thought about in the SOP is what constitutes a stabilized approach, because we want to attack the runway excursions. And what we found was that there was not a real clear industry set of guidance. So I got introduced to some folks through NBAA at the Flight Safety Foundation who were in the middle of struggling with the same thing. And so that's how we met the folks at Presage. Bill Curtis, who was a chief pilot at Air Canada, was a chief author of the updated report, which basically said we use stabilized approach as a means to tell us when we should go around, but historically, even in the airlines, when they're unstable, they only go around 3% of the time. Now, that tells you right there that there's a problem with the criteria that we have. And so, like David said, we have no playbook. So what could we do for a playbook? And what the Flight Safety Foundation had started to do with the airlines was something that we hoped we could reproduce, and Safe to Land turned out. So
right. And we worked with the Presage group and Bill and Piyush and his group to interview all the CJP members and sort of find out where their thoughts were on how do we think of a group as a stabilized, and what is a stabilized approach? What are we comfortable with? Where are our problems? I remember one of the things that caught my eye was something like 70% of our landings are visual approaches. And we're all trained to fly instrument approaches. We know when to do what in those procedures, but 70% of the time we're out there making it up.
Exactly.
And so we had to come up with a set of guidelines that address how we really fly. And what came out of all of this, the Safe to Land procedures that we've come up with gates and limits, it's no longer just be fully configured and ready to go at 1,000 feet, which no one ever did, including the airlines.
Right.
It's a progression of green zone, yellow zone, red zone that aligns with how we really fly.
Exactly. That was the aha for me, listening to how the airlines had come up with it. To your point, it really mattered that we got a group of pilots together to get their opinions, because that leads to buy-in. Okay, I'm not going around in this condition because I know I'm only 5 knots fast. I can fix that. But is 10 okay? Is 15 okay? Is 20 okay? Is 25 okay? Well, we got a group of pilots together to say, this is what I could buy into. And it revealed that there's a goal. We want to be stable early, but then there's a limit. When, for what parameters does it become too late? And we're telling you that if you press here, you're in trouble, right? So we've given you that nice yellow zone to operate. And I think it's resonating with people.